Transfer Talk episode 12. We've got a couple of weeks left in the transfer window. As per usual with this program, it's going to be the detail on the players being linked in or out of the club, who has said it, what they have said, whether it's credible or not, or at least the detail around it. I will give you my personal opinion. You can formulate your own personal opinion on this because, as I always say on the show, I'm not your mother. You can think whatever you want to think. So I'll give you the detail. You make up your own mind on this. And there's a fair amount of stuff to talk about. A lot more on the exit side than there is on the incoming side. I can give you some detail on Leeds United's transfer budget at the moment. So it's rumoured this summer to be anything between 100 and 120 million pounds without a sale of a player. So we've still got a little bit of SCR headroom there at the moment. If we can get some sales, obviously that increases as well. And we've had a couple of exits already this week. Joe Gallagher heading off to Hull City for £6.5 million. That's the fee being reported by Zinny Boswell at Sky Sports and by The Athletic. And I'm more likely to believe those two people than anybody else when it comes to this one. So that 6.5 is really useful because Nico Elvedi is coming in for 6.8 million. So Joffy pretty much nearly pays for Elvedi. Although Steve is going to send me a message now saying that that's not how SCR works, Jer. It depends on the structure of how that all works. I'll save you the text message, Steve. So again, there's a lot to talk about. We've got one player coming in Elvedi. I'm going to keep that till the end of the video to give you the detail on that. If you did see the live stream last night, then you know the detail on this. So you don't need to hang around till the end of it. If you haven't seen that live stream and you want the detail on Elvedi, that will be at the very end of today's video. So right, the bulk of this is around exits today, but we're going to start off with a story that's after picking up a huge amount of pace and might be a slight problem for Joe Piroe. So this one's been simmering away all summer. Joe Piroe is a striker, 6 foot in height, left-footed, 27 years of age. And this one's gone from being, I want to stay and fight for my position at the club, to his agent getting involved with a fairly public statement. And as we all know, that doesn't tend to end very well when it comes to dealing with Daniel Farke. It's not a great situation now, but there's a bit more detail coming out as to why Joe Piroe's situation this summer has been the way that it is. The issue with Piroe is apparently not necessarily down to clubs not being interested in him. Clubs have expressed interest, but the valuation of the player from Leeds' side is the problem. Now, we have criticised Leeds United for not being able to sell players for a decent fee. Leeds have slapped a fee on the top of Joe Piroe, and that fee is believed to be turning clubs off of him. Piroe is believed to be valued, according to Baron Cross at The Athletic, at £16 million. Which I think is probably a little bit too high, but you can let me know your thoughts on that. Clubs that have expressed interest in Piroe have come nowhere near that valuation of the player, and it's being described as a problem. His agent got involved yesterday, which might cause Piroe a little bit of trouble in the next couple of weeks. We know it doesn't sit well with Daniel Farke. Theo Robers, who is his agent, has told The Athletic that he doesn't think the figure or the valuation being put on Joe Piroe's head is a realistic figure, and it's turning clubs off of him. It's believed to be 60 million plus add-ons as well, by the way. So there's a little bit extra to that. He also added a little bit of a warning or threat or information to this, depending on what way you want to take this. And he said, if a solution isn't found this summer, then they are prepared to let Joe Piroe wind down his contract, sit it out, and leave for a free transfer at the end of next season. Piroe's in the final year of his deal. He also said, if the club doesn't sort this out this window, never call me again. That's not just related to Joe Piroe, that's related to other clients. Now, that will change very quickly when he's offered money at some point, I would imagine. Agents are not exactly what you call the most morally focused people on the planet. So this one's going to escalate rapidly now. The fact that this has gone public, does Daniel Farke automatically leave him out of the squad for the first game of the season against Nottingham Forest, despite the fact he won't have a natural replacement for him on the bench? We've seen him do this before with players that have essentially thrown their toys out of pram. Not saying that Joel's thrown his toys out of pram, but his agent is. So it's going to be a tricky one. It's going to get really, really interesting. I personally think £16 million is too high. I think maybe Leeds are hoping to get more than 12 for him. I think he's probably valued in and around exactly what Leeds paid for him, because all of his goals have come in the Championship, and that's likely the level he'll head to. I've watched the game back yesterday after catching up on it, and it wasn't great from Joel. So I think 10, 12 million pound is probably a decent figure for Joel Piroe, but you can let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, that one's going to be interesting to watch going into next weekend's game. We'll move on for now. Right, next one, talk about an obvious one. Sebastiaan Bornauw, 27 years of age, 6'3", right-footed centre back. And now that Nico Elvedi is on his way to Leeds United, Leeds have allowed Sebastiaan Bornauw to make his move to Hamburg. Reports in Germany from Florian Plettenberg say that they are now at an advanced stage with this deal, and the player is due to fly into Hamburg today in order to start the first part of his medical, which will likely be completed between today and tomorrow, and then he'll likely be a Hamburg player from Tuesday. Plettenberg says that advanced negotiations are underway, and it's a structured loan deal with an option to buy at the end of it. The structured loan deal is believed to have some form of a loan fee attached to the start of it, which will offset some wages or part of a transfer for Leeds this summer. So it's not the worst case scenario. The option is always an issue when it comes to Leeds United for options. We don't have a great track record of getting clubs to pay the options, but that is what is there right now. It'll be paid at the end of the season should it go well for him, which you imagine it would. He's been decent when he's been in the Bundesliga before. There's a conflicting report on this, and this could just be down to direct translations of stuff. Bild and Mopo are saying that there's an obligation. It's how they're wording it. They're basically saying that Hamburg are obliged to bring the player in. That just could be because they're bringing him in on loan now, and it might not relate to an obligation to buy at the end. But that's not very clear, but it could just be down to a direct translation. So I don't want to throw that one out too hard. His medical, as I say, is to happen today, and he would be the latest player to move away from Leeds United and head off this summer, and is going to sign for Hamburg SV. We wish him all the best when that one gets completed. Let's move on. Couple of really short updates on two players. Largie Ramazani is the first one, 24 years of age, left winger, 5'7" in height. And Daniel Farke was speaking after the Augsburg friendly yesterday, and is definitely made it clear where Largie Ramazani sits when it comes to this season. He's made it clear that he is not part of the plans and he is free to move away from the club this summer. Farke said that the players that are not part of the current group in the training camp or in the friendlies are not involved in his plans, are training away from the rest of the group to not disrupt it, and are free to find new clubs this summer. Valencia, we know the situation around them. Valencia want him or don't want him, depending on which person you listen to. He was expected to head back there this summer, but there's a bit of a dispute now in their camp between manager Carlos Corberán and CEO Ron Gurley. Gurley wants him back at the club next season. Corberán doesn't. Corberán is believed to have some issues with Ramazani's all-round game, ignoring the goals and the assists, which, if you listen to what Daniel Farke's reported comments on or thoughts on Ramazani are, it seems to line up exactly with that. It's not just about the goals and the assists, it's about his all-round game. That could get resolved if the CEO gets his way. It could also be a case that maybe Corberán wants a different type of winger, and if he can't get that, then maybe Ramazani becomes available. Or it could all just be part of a smoke screen to get nobody else interested in him, and at the end of the window try and get him at a discount or another loan at known Valencia, which would possibly happen. But he is free to go. No one else really being labelled as interested in Ramazani right now, so an awkward couple of weeks ahead for him. He'll need to get a move, and his agent will need to get busy as well. Move on. Right, Lucas Perri. Where are we with this one? 28 years of age, goalkeeper, 6'5", right-footed, Brazilian. So Marseille and Torino are still the two clubs that are very much in the mix with this one. One report that's come out of Italy over the last 24 hours says that Leeds United are believed to be deliberately delaying this one while Perri sorts out what he wants to do, but while Leeds also look at the situation and see if they can get more money in from. The Marseille Igor Paixão conversation seems to have gone away, so it seems to just be about Lucas Perri at this stage. I don't see Igor Paixão happening, by the way, for Leeds United. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think it will happen. On the structure of a deal here, both clubs are now believed to want a loan of the player with an option to buy. Now, this is where it gets conflicting. Marseille's rumoured option is €14 million, so about, 12-ish, £11.5 million. And Torino's was 10, which is why Leeds obviously preferred to move to Marseille. But Torino are said to have increased their option bid to 12 million, which would suggest that Marseille's isn't 14, it's probably less than that, because why would you offer less than somebody else is offering? Also, increasing an option to buy doesn't really matter. You can increase that to 75 million if you want. It's an option. You don't have to pay it. And if you don't plan on paying it at the end of the season, you can put whatever option you want on the table. Doesn't matter, because you're not going to pay it. So that doesn't really matter to me right now. They're weighing up their options on this. Reports in Italy claim that Perri is still believed to prefer a move to Torino than Marseille. He does have a better track record in France. Well, he hasn't played in Italy, but in France, He was with Olympic Lyonnais. It was very good for them there. So does know the league pretty well, knows the country. So might be a more easier option for him. But likely to rumble on a couple of more days before we see his move. He was expected to go to Torino before Marseille got involved. Leeds obviously looking to try and maximise whatever cash they can potentially get in from. And again, likely some form of a loan fee up front. Let's move on. Right, incomings. And we're just going to get this one out of the way. So Rafael Leão, there's a ton of speculation, a ton of noise on social media around Rafael Leão. And I suppose the best thing to do here is just to get all the facts, lay them all out on the table and see where the whole thing lies, because I don't see Rafael Leão ever putting a Leeds United jersey on him. Now, don't get me wrong, if he did, very happy about that. He's a very talented individual. There's a lot of factors to this. The beginning of the story on this was that he was offered to Leeds United as well as other clubs. And the fee was rumoured to be 50 million euros, so about 42, 43 million pounds, which would be another transfer record for Leeds United after breaking it already. And the player was reported to want £350,000 a week. Now, that's not his salary right now, but we'll get to that in a couple of minutes' time. It would comfortably make him the highest earner at Leeds United by at least 2 or 3 times. In the last 5 seasons for AC Milan, he scored 67 goals and added 47 assists. So 114 GNA in 218 games. So a goal or an assist every other game, essentially, which is a hell of a record at that level. He had a fairly injury-hit season last year, so no long, massive spells out injured, but a couple of niggly injuries over the year that broke up his season. But he still managed to get into double figures for goals from the left wing for Milan. He wants to move to the Premier League. The issue is not the ability. The issue is not the profile of the player. The issue is all said to be around the finances of this and what everyone thinks. Leeds Live's Amy Wilson had a report out today that cites Gianluca Di Marzio on this and basically says that AC Milan and Leao's representatives have had a meeting this weekend. They've agreed to lower a transfer fee and they're now looking for a fee of between 34.2 and 38.5 million pounds. But Milan are believed to not be desperate to sell the player. So if he doesn't want to go, if they don't get the offer that they want, they're happy enough for him to stay. Now that might not be everybody at Milan, depending on which report you read and which one you believe. Leao himself spoke this summer and he said he wants a new challenge after 7 years at AC Milan. His preferred destination is the Premier League, but not a huge amount of Premier League clubs seem to be overly interested in him. And there must be a very strong reason for that, because when you look at his output on paper, it seems like a player that a lot of top clubs would bite your hand off for. Leeds' position on this is weird as well. He was offered to Arsenal, Manchester United and Leeds United. So it's an unusual 3 clubs. Clearly, the player himself has decided that they're the clubs I would like to go to. So there's a positive in that, I suppose. His annual current salary right now is believed to be about £8.6 million. That works out about £165,000 a week. So even if he was happy to come to Leeds on exactly what he's earning right now, he would still be comfortably Leeds United's highest earning player. Trafford, Calvert-Lewin and Wilson are believed to be the highest earners at the club right now, between 100 and 130,000 a week, depending on, again, who you believe on this. That's being described as the major issue here and why no one is actually moving for the player. If he wants to come to the Premier League, he's going to have to check his wage demands if he wants to get that move, especially if he wants to come to Leeds United. There's only a handful of clubs in the Premier League that could probably afford to pay that. Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, maybe Liverpool, who will be willing to pay that kind of money. There is another element to this as well, and this is the character of the player, because Leeds has spoken an awful lot about having the right characters in the dressing room, and this is where you get some really big conflicting reports on this. There is one report in Italy from the journalists and the media there that say that Amorim and Leao have had a public falling out, and that Amorim is keen to see Leao move away and described him as a negative influence in the dressing room. However, and there is a big however to this, Leao himself has commented on this. He was asked by the media about this. He denied that row ever happened. He denied that there's an issue there. In fact, he also went a step further to say that the media were lying about the situation and about what happened. So couldn't possibly tell you if any of that is true, but that's what's out there right now. Leeds' situation on this one isn't believed to have moved from the initial offer. I would imagine he's a player Leeds United would be very happy to take if they could get the finances right around this. I think Noah Okafor might be slightly less impressed to see Rafael Leão walk in the door, considering he was the player he was battling with at AC Milan for that position on the left-hand side. And that would obviously free up Okafor to come in more centrally. A longer conversation for a different day. But it is an interesting one in terms of, yeah, you take the player. Absolutely you would. His numbers are fantastic. He's a very talented player. He's very quick as well. Very, very quick. And he's physical. And he's another big lad. Do I see this happening? No. No, I don't see any version of him where this happens. I hope I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, fantastic. But I don't see either Piroe or Rafael Leão ending up at Leeds United. It would be a very big statement signing if Leeds did bring him in. The character would need to be correct, but I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And there's not enough credible noise around the UK on this one to suggest that Leeds are genuinely interested in him. So probably somebody else. But we'll see. You never know. Let's move on top with the final one then, and that's Nico Elvedi. So if you've already got the detail on this and you don't want to get it again, no hassle with you popping off. Everybody else, I'll give you the lowdown on this. So yesterday, Leeds United had all the details agreed for Nico Elvedi. Deal agreed with the player. Deal agreed with Mönchengladbach. It is believed to be anything between £6.8 million and £8.5 million, depending on who you listen to. Some reports are saying €10 million. That's about £8.4 million. But Zinny Boswell and Fabrizio Romano are both saying £6.8 million, which is a very good deal, considering Joe Gelhardt 6.5 will likely pay for that in full. Again, as I say, Steve Carlisle will probably tell me that I'm wrong on that one, and that's okay. But it's roughly in and around the same. The full structure of the deal isn't public. There is believed to be a 15% sell-on, 15% sell-on. And Florian Plettenberg had the exclusive yesterday. Deal agreed, 15% sell-on. Paperwork finalised. Medical being prepared. And he's believed to be flying into Leeds today to get that medical done over the next 2 days. So we could see him as a Leeds United player as early as tomorrow, possibly Tuesday, and then likely to be involved in the squad in some capacity, probably on the bench coming into the weekend, because he has had a full preseason with Mönchengladbach. So he was out with the squad for the game against Aston Villa yesterday. So that was the signal that he was moving. He was Daniel Farke's captain at Mönchengladbach. Farke once described him as one of the best central defenders in Europe. 73 caps for Switzerland. 318 appearances for Gladbach over a 10-year period. 6'2" in height. 29 years of age. He will be 30 in September. And what's interesting about this, and again, we talked about it last night on the live stream, he is comfortable playing in any of the three positions in that back three. He can play on the right, primarily a right-sided centre-back. Very comfortable in the centre of a three, and can play on the left if needed. He has played there before. But it does give Leeds an awful lot more rotational option. Jakobiel can obviously play on the left-hand side of a three, played there with Udinese. Joe Rodon can play in the centre and has done last season as well. So there's a bit more rotational options there. You would likely want one more player to come in, but maybe Leeds would be happy to go with Elvedi and a James Justin as the two options there if they need it, if they can bring in another fullback to try and help out with the left and right back positions. So yeah, for me, this is a really good signing. I've seen some people already complaining about it. I've seen some people complaining about Harry Wilson already. And the only thing that pops into my head is, when are we going to learn to stop criticising signings before they've even gotten into their full flow in a league campaign for Leeds? Because every year someone complains about a signing that Leeds have made publicly, and within 5 or 6 weeks they find their rhythm and they're excellent for Leeds, and you've got to put out a tweet or something saying, oh, I got that one wrong. Give them time. Give them a couple of weeks to bed in and get used to the players, get used to the system, get used to building relationships with the other players. You know, they've got a bit of work to do just to feel comfortable in the environment yet. So I think Elvedi is an excellent signing. Leeds first went after him back in December 2024. So this one's been hanging around for quite some time. Daniel Farke is clearly a fan of Nico Elvedi. He's another leader. He's another captain, and Leeds will have a bigger leadership group going into next season. The return of the leadership groups. We'll give you that detail and more tomorrow morning in the Daily News. That'll be it for me for this weekend, folks. Massive thanks, as always, for supporting the channel. If you want to subscribe and like for more daily Leeds United content, you can do so. It would massively help the channel. And if you're thinking about picking up any of Leeds United's training gear or official jerseys, we've got links to the club officially and Fanatics down below in the description. That'll be it for me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.